It is currently 10:45 p.m. and you are watching the Honey Buncher Bros podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Doing great.
Tired, but we're here. We're great. We're living. That's all that matters, man.
Interesting. Um,
Okay.
I'm feeling good. So let's just get straight to the fact of the matter. If a high, low high for the past week, um, a high. So I had a 2 week research assistant position over at the NASA Research Center in Mountain View. So I've been doing that for the past couple weeks, and it's been cool. Met some cool people. Did some cool things. Um, so that was a high. A low. Um, oh well, I guess this thing that I wanted to use, this piece of equipment, is turning out to present more issues than I thought it would. So I don't know. Got to do a little bit more research, a little bit more troubleshooting, but other than that, um, second high. So I'm labeling it as a high, but it's interesting. So it's a little bit of a story. I go to the doctor. I go to the dentist. On I shouldn't be laughing because it's kind of not a. I go to the dentist on Friday, right? And same dentist I've gone to for a while. I had an Invisalign checkup, get my teeth straight. But um, I get there, get processed, come inside, go to the room, and I'm chilling. She's like, "Oh, the dentist will be with you soon." And it's funny because as I walk in, like you go past the rooms and to your area, like I notice like significantly more black people than I've ever seen at the spot before. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I got some culture going on here, and I sit down and I'm waiting for a little bit, and probably like I don't know, 5-10 minutes go by or something like that, and um one of the ladies there, she comes in the room and she's like, "Oh, um I don't know what's taking so long. um they didn't even give you a bib. Let me give you a bib." uh you know and she's dark skinned, right? So I automatically feel relaxed because it's just one of those things where it's a familiar environment. But I got to thinking, like, shortly after that, I'm like, because she obviously spends more time there than I do, right? She knows how things go, and for her to say, like, for her to come in here and be like, "Oh, they should have already like done this, this, and this," um, is like, lets me know that something was going on. Um, it could have been they're just busy because they did have a lot of people in there, but it's like, it's just one of those things that make you think, because that makes me think, because I wouldn't have given a second thought to it, but when someone brings something like that to your attention, it kind of makes you think, like, oh dang, like is this how it's always been for me because it's me, or like, like it just makes you like wonder a little bit. um but it starts the conversation about things like representation and things like you know uh what's the word I'm looking for, what demographics, like how many people you see like you in a certain environment, in a given environment. And it kind of just reemphasized how important it is, at some aspects and for some people. um and how it can be, sometimes a matter of life and death, because I hear hospital stories a whole lot about like how, black people get mistreated, don't get underdiagnosed, things like that, until they get with like another black doctor, another black physician, nurse, or whatnot. um so it was an interesting experience. But I considered it a high because she was cool. She was a homie, hooked me up, gave me a little bib. So, um, but yeah, that was my hello high for the past week.
Guess I'll go. Um, my first high. Um, I had spring break this last week, um, so it was much needed. Pretty cool. Um, my low, man, it being spring break. Um, this um, back half of the week, I kind of having a hard time sleeping, like staying asleep during the night and stuff like that. So yeah, as a result of that, I'm pretty tired some days. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure actually because I'm sleeping fine forever, but I don't know. I guess it's one of those things. But my last high, um, hmm, my last high. Hmm. Oh, I got some new pants and a new hat recently. Went to the mall.
Okay,
Went to the mall. You know, had to get some new pants, and yeah, so you know, a little shopping haul. Not really, but
cool,
Okay,
cool.
that sounds good. Um, my turn. Hello, hi. I would say my first high would be that I'm on spring break, so I finally get to sleep more. That's probably all what I'm gonna be doing, to be honest with you. Just resting, getting that break from classes and school and stress and all that. Then we go what? Then we go right back into it. But yeah, that's my first high. My low, I'm just I'm just tired today and like for the last few days. Um, but yeah, I hope like the rest I get from spring break helps me with all that. But yeah, that's just been weighing me down a little bit. My second high, I think I'm getting bigger, bro. I'm not gonna lie. No, I'm looking at my camera. I'm like, damn, my arm is just kind of bigger than it was like 2 months ago. It's crazy. Like, see, look at the arch over there. Well, that was not there 2 months ago. Crazy. Yeah, that's a high in my opinion, bro. Like, look, bro.
that
No,
is a high.
no, that was a bad angle. Y'all got to see me in person to actually see the difference. Nah, but y'all got to see me in person to see the actual difference. But
That's insane.
hey, I'm just like explaining what I, what I'm saying, feel. But hey, you believe what you believe, but I see the difference. That's all
That's
that
all that
matters.
matters. Facts, facts,
Exactly.
big
See,
facts.
exactly. Locked in.
He really said, "I
um,
think I'm getting bigger."
he said, right, like,
Whoa! I didn't
um,
mean it like that. That's crazy. I didn't even think of that.
nah, but it's all good. Bringing it to the topic as we usually do. Tofi, I'm glad you're wearing that shirt today. I feel like it's just meant to be at this point. Excellent timing. You know,
Oh, the
um,
Black Scholars Matter.
yeah.
It's my second favorite shirt.
What's the first?
You don't have to put me on the spot like that. I don't even know, bro.
You gonna have a second without a
Yeah,
first?
right. Wait, you're not even gonna have a first one memorized?
So you just didn't want to put that one as first?
Yeah,
Nah,
right.
nah, it's cool.
Like,
It's cool. Nah, I see.
yeah,
I see how you
bro.
doing the black scholars. Nah,
Bro,
it's
it's just a
fine.
long shirt, bro. That's why it's not my first. If it
Don't
was
worry. Don't worry.
shorter, bro, it would be
Don't worry
cool.
about it, bro. It's cool. It's cool.
Look at you
That's how
turning
you.
the script, flipping the narrative on me now. Like it's kind of crazy that was how it ends up like that. But okay, it's cool though. I don't mind.
Nah, but so what we wanted to talk about today, kind of building off what I had mentioned before. Ketanji Brown Jackson. If y'all don't know already, she is um, what's the official term for it? Uh,
So,
confirmation nominee. I don't know. Well, she's a nominee to be a Supreme Court justice. She's going through like the vet process through Congress. Um, and if she's successfully nominated to the Supreme Court, then she will have been the first Black woman on the Supreme Court. Needless to say, this does quite a few things for Black people as a whole, women as well, Black women specifically. If you want to intersect the two, um, I don't have a lot. I can say a lot on this. So, how do you? Yeah, I'll just open up the floor first before we start getting into anywhere too specific. How are y'all taking in this moment in history?
um, it's a great moment in history, in my opinion, because we honestly don't see, um, I say like enough representation for Black women in positions of power, for women in general, but even more so Black women in positions of power like that. So it's great to see that she's given an opportunity to serve in the Supreme Court justice. That's how I feel about the confirmation situation, or at least the act of her being inducted into the Supreme Court.
Definitely a bright spot in history for what's been happening the past what 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. So definitely a step up from the news that we've been hearing recently. And yeah, like Kofi, like you were saying, CJ, um, just a big moment for Black Americans and for women in America. You know, to have someone be a representation of both sides of people who live here and work here and everything like that. So definitely a huge moment in history, and definitely expecting a lot of great things coming. You know, moving forward from this.
Yeah. So I personally always take notice one way or another of the lack of representation in almost every context that I'm in. Whether it's in school, at my job, um, I've noticed for a while, like especially in college, if I'm not the only Black guy in the class, I'm the only Black person in the class, right? So um, I could probably count on one hand, like psych specifically as a major, how many times I haven't been the only Black guy. um I guess there's just a lot more Black women than there are Black guys in psych. So Black people as a whole, I've run into a few. We've had some classes together, but it ain't a lot. Um, so in whatever field it is, like seeing someone that looks like you is, I don't know. To people who don't understand it, it may seem trivial, but when you're in an environment that you don't see someone that looks like you from personal experience, it can be alienating, and it can be isolating, just because class is one thing, right? But um in some aspects you're like expected to make friends in your class, you know, to be study partners and whatnot. Sometimes you become friends outside or after the class. And but just in the instance of during the class session, you might try and make friends, but it's like, dang, I can't really talk about the things that I'm into with like any of these people because none of these people know what I'm like. None of these people know the culture that I live. So and obviously no one wants to be in class and want to make friends and then feel like they can't make friends. And you know, uh obviously that's not always the case, you know. But it happens more than I feel like more than people are willing to acknowledge, or they try to brush it off as not being as important as it really is. So for all the young people growing up, not they don't even have to be young to be honest. Just for all the black people out there, the black women out there, it's motivating, it's encouraging, definitely. And it's about damn time if I do say so myself, but you know, it's neither here nor there, I guess. So did y'all get a chance to see? You said Tofi, you did. You got a chance to see the TikToks, right?
Yeah, I've seen some of them.
I I just what? How did you feel about them? I just want to see if we saw some of the same ones or not.
Oh, the ones I saw were like, I guess there were a bunch of I want to say Republicans. I think they were Republicans. I don't know if I didn't see Democrats in it. There probably was. There might have been, but I didn't see anything in my case. But they were asking some like questionable questions. I don't that weren't like relevant, if that's the word, to what was the situation at hand, which was like proving her, I guess, not credibility. There's another word for this. Like her,
Efficacy.
yeah, for the job. Yeah, exactly. Efficacy is the perfect word for how she can be a justice. So it's really off putting because I was like, what is this? I was seeing some videos. I'm like, bro, what does this have to do with her becoming a justice? Don't you want to ask questions to see if she can do the job? Like, I didn't understand why they were asking such like questions that like how would like she's not even involved personally in what they were asking her. So I was wondering what what does this have to do with her becoming a justice? I'm confused.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Because that's a lot of what I saw as well. Um, I don't know a whole lot. You know, I'm not claiming to know a whole lot about the judicial system or the legislative system, but from my education and understanding, um, the Supreme Court has become more of a policy maker in the big cases for following precedent and setting new precedent. But as Tofi said, what I saw was happening was that undertone of the weight of what the Supreme Court ruling has ended up turning into like this policy debate and this debate that doesn't really concern judges, in my opinion, because I heard questions like, you know, what did she define a woman as? You know, what there was this one trap ass of a question. It was like, if someone commits a crime, does that make them a criminal or something like that? And just super, just traps, just straight up, they're just traps. You know, trap questions, because like this, for example, the criminal question, right? The way she answered it is like, I can't give you an answer on that. And the reason was like, if I commit a crime, if I kill someone, is it manslaughter? Is it first degree murder? Um, was it a car accident that ended up not being my fault and then someone dies? That doesn't make me a criminal. I didn't, because you don't have intent, you know what I'm saying? But things like, murder, robbery with clear intent, planning and whatnot, that makes you a criminal. So she would be like, I can't answer that question based off of what you're giving me. And then they'd be like, oh, so that means you don't have an answer, or so that means you don't they'd be like, oh, I would have thought that you had something to say on the matter. It's like some slick shit like that. And it's like, but for juxtaposition, for the question where they're like, oh, what's your definition of a woman? She was like, that's y'all job to decide, what the definition is of a woman. Like, when a case comes to me, it's the defense and the prosecution's job to, be like, hey, judge, this is what we got going on, this and this. You need to rule in our favor or not, right? Like, the in my opinion, the people that come to the court are supposed to be the ones that are supposed to, convince the judge one way or another. Justices, I guess, all of them. So it's like I'm seeing this and I'm like, what are we doing? What's really going on here? And then I start putting on my I gotta take it off sometimes though. But and I'm like, dog, y'all are just shitting the bed. For lack of better words, like, y'all are taking an opportunity to vet someone who is deemed worthy of being a Supreme Court justice, and y'all are just giving her these horrible questions. Um, because, like, yeah, great that she's the first black nominee, but I still want to make sure she knows what she's doing. You don't get no one gets a pass just because they're the demographic that they fall into. So it's like, bro, like, I still need y'all to ask these questions, like, good questions. Sentiment aside, it would be great if she is, but you know, still, you still got to make sure you fit for the task. But I don't think they took the best advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Like all the, and I every single like video I saw, there was nothing related to being like her job as a justice. So I was kind of like, why are you guys bringing up like policy issues um, that don't directly affect how she's going to be as a justice? So I was like, I don't understand how this is relevant to this task at hand, which is proving to us that she's going to be a competent justice. So it's like, I don't know, weird, just weird situation.
You haven't seen Sage on for.
uh, Kinda, yeah. I was just gonna say that, how do I put this? I guess this isn't really anything new when it comes to like politics in the U.S. and stuff like that. Everything's ran by these old white guys who have their minds set back, back, back. So I mean, yeah, honestly, it's extremely hard to say, but so like from what you guys are saying, some of the questions were. It doesn't surprise me that some people want to ask these ridiculous questions just to I don't even know, make themselves feel better, I guess. But um, I don't know. I it's great that this is all happening and everything. I think it's something that needs to be happening, needs to be done. But just from the questions you guys were like saying, like the examples or the TikToks that you guys are talking about, it doesn't really seem that we have the greatest intentions in mind when it comes to the questions.
Yeah, and I also want to clarify. Look, I was working during the official thing. I didn't have time to watch the whole thing. So yes, I got my sources from TikTok. All right, come at me in the comments if you want to. I don't really care. Um, but I also just want to say that to acknowledge that, like, yeah, I understand that because I didn't watch the whole thing, like, I didn't get the full thing. But if everything went the way it was supposed to, then I wouldn't really be talking about it. The only reason why I'm really talking about it is because I'm looking at it and I'm like, this shit's whack. Um, doesn't matter if it happened a lot or a little. At least to me, the fact that it mattered on such a high stage is I got to say something. Um, but I'm just curious. I want to ask y'all a question. What would y'all say? This might be a bad question because I don't know how much knowledge y'all have on the subject. But if Ketanji gets nominated and accepted into the Supreme Court, what do you think this does for women and Black women going forward?
That's
It
a
should
good
empower.
question.
What'd you
Sorry,
say, John?
I was gonna say it should empower both women and black women. I feel like it should give let people know that just because you're a woman, just because you may have a different skin color than everyone else, that doesn't mean you can't accomplish great things in life. I think that's something that is great and that needs to be shared. Honestly, like um, yeah, without going into too much detail, I think it should be empowering
Go into some
for everyone
detail.
involved.
That's all right.
I want to hear what you guys got to say.
It's all good. It's all good.
But yeah,
Yeah, the same angle, technically, or not technically, actually. It's powerful for representation because you see somebody who looks like you in a position of power. What does that make you want to do? It makes you want to get there. It makes you inspired. If you don't want to be that exactly, it inspires you. Like, I can do something like this. If she did it, I can. You know, I think that is important for anybody to have, and especially like Black women, to see somebody in like a position like that is empowering, and it could like the kids, all the next generation, is affecting them all, and it's a great thing. Honestly, I think it would be great.
Um, yeah, and I just want to share another quick story about representation. So back when I played Little League,
go back in the
I
vault for this one.
right the first time I could pick the number that was on my jersey, I picked 42. Um, if y'all don't know, 42 was Jackie Robinson's number, and I felt like I was Jackie Robinson for all intents and purposes, because not only was I like the only Black person on my team still, but like I would say like maybe like if I remember correctly, like one of like three Black people in like the whole league, right? Not a huge league, just little league. But I had my team colors were dark blue and white. It felt kind of like blue. It was I was feeling some kind of connection there, and I only say that to say because like it doesn't seem like a lot, or it might just seem like just kids looking up to um athletes, stars, or whatever. But I didn't know any other stars besides like Babe Ruth, Buster Posey, big names. I didn't know who I don't even know who a pitcher was at that time. You know what I'm saying? But it's like seeing Jackie Robinson, I was like, oh yeah, that stuck with me. I was like, oh yeah, like this is those I don't know where I was going with that, but it's like this is like I can become what I saw, like, in the history books, on the TV. Like, I can be him. Um, so that's just a quick story about, like, representation does a lot for kids. I would argue that it does more for adults, but I honestly think it does more for kids because when you're still a kid, that's when you can still really dream. Before life hits you and people start telling you all the you can't and the you shouldn't. Uh, you know,
Much
oh,
simpler time.
facts. But to answer the question that I asked, I think this, besides representation, I think this comes in the empowerment, the form of empowerment in voice. So having someone being a voice for you, being a voice for your demographic, for your group, having someone feeling like someone is a dedicated advocate to you, which can do a lot. It's like having someone in your corner that you can't see, but is always always there for you, making sure that stuff goes right for you. Um, which, because you can it's one thing to be seen, it's another thing to be heard, right? You can feel like you're seen, you can feel like you're getting somewhere, but that voice, the one that says, this got to stop, this got to change, um is just as important. So I think that's also what this, if she gets nominated, I think that's also what will be great going forward for women and for black women, um and for black people too as well.
Facts.
um I want to bring up something else. um Malcolm X, chill, y'all. But Malcolm X said that, famously, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman, right? I don't find it that hard to qualify the statement, only because if you take a look at two of the biggest minority groups by race and by gender is black and woman. So you combine the two. There you go, right? Um, If you feel otherwise, feel free to let me know in the comment section. But no, I bring that up because I want to ask y'all another question. Um, where where do you feel we go now, right? Like, because let's be honest, it's hard to get stuff passed in America when you have a lot of partisan activity, right? You still have to get, what was it, 2/3 and 3/4 of the House and Senate or something like that. I forget how it goes. Um, so 50, 51, 50 ain't enough, or 51-49 isn't enough. But where's the tide leaning to now? Y'all feel? I'm just curious if y'all have an answer. I'm putting y'all on the spot today. Golly, bro.
I have a semi answer. Well, I can't remember where I heard this from, but I think it wasn't a TED talk. It was some, I can't remember. But what the person said was that change takes 3 generations to get into effect. It was something along those lines because the people who are like in power right now, they're old and they have their own views from the past or whatever. They're gonna hold on to that until they die or get out of power. And that's why it takes 3 generations for change to actually like happen. Because things start to move forward because as those people go away, newer people, newer values, newer ideals come in to power, and then they start to make the changes that were sought after during at one point. And that's not to say that it's like there still won't be like problems after, because with every new generation there's new problems that come to the past and that have to be addressed. And so the people in power who are new are probably not going to agree with that because they were raised, brought up a certain way, and it keeps going like that. It's like a cycle. So what this does is like starts it, I guess, like the change that starts to happen. It's not like it won't happen like overnight, obviously, because change takes way longer than that. And that's what a lot of people have to understand. Like this isn't a
It's
like
not they don't flip the switch and it's like, oh, racism over.
yeah. I remember a lot of people were saying that when Obama got elected.
It's not how it works, people.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, but it's like exactly like that. It's like it's not gonna happen overnight. It's just the starting point. It's just like a baseline. Now we can start to like move towards what we're aiming for, and I believe that that's what this is. It's not really like solving anything, but it's more so like beginning the process of changing.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think it's kind of like nudging everything in the right direction. I want to say, but yeah, like the whole thing with Toby was saying about 3 generations, you know, worth of the same idea. It's gonna take a while to change some of those things, but if we stay consistent enough about it, um, it'll make things a lot easier when it's time for that transition. But Toby pretty much hit it right on the head, like right on top of that.
Yeah, I really like. I feel like I've heard that too. The change takes 3 generations. Um, I believe. Let me just double check. They said a generation is 40 years. Let me just do. Let me just do a quick search. Okay, they said 25 years. Weird. Okay, but 25 times 3, 75. I hear people say this, but I want to give some concrete numbers to give context to this, right? Segregation ended in 1964 legally, right? That shit was still going on longer than 1964, but legally, oh, okay, gavel boom, can't segregate anymore. Cool, all right, it's all over. In 1964, Trump was 18. Um, and Biden was 24. For more context, Trump is now 75 and Biden is 79. That's right at that 3 generation mark. Where are we at those 3 generations, right?
Are you asking, or are you just saying?
I'm speculating. Y'all can jump in like if y'all feel like it, but where are we at? We've gone through 3 generations from segregation, segregation, Jim Crow, and all that. We've gone to what do you call it? Just racism. Then we just go to racism, honestly, because it still is racism. Still having a system that works against minorities and people of color is still racism. So now it's just covert, right? Now it's damn. I don't know why I didn't get approved for that loan or that lease. All the paperwork checks out. I don't know what else it could be. And then we have figures come through. You know. And so 75 years later, about give or take, right? We're here now. In the next 75 years, 2097. Where are we there? Because in the past 75-ish years, we've gone from, you cannot legally separate people to we are about to have one of a member from that demographic become a member of the highest legal institution in America to what essentially, what goes on in these next 75 years that will change the narrative, if y'all have any speculation.
Mm.
Wow.
So wow.
Um, yeah, honestly, because like you said, Biden and Trump were 18 or then like 24 when that happened. Look at us right now. As this is happening right now, we're 20, 20, 21, around that age range. So it's like, if that little change in that many years, how much more is the room for growth? Which is interesting to think about because since those people are gonna like leave power soon, what's gonna happen now when like the younger people than them who are like 40s or 50s, not like us right now because we can't do anything till like a little bit later. But what will they do to change things until we get into that position? Because when we get there, our ideas are gonna be outdated. That's just how it works. Like, how can there be like a balance between the people up there and what we're trying to get to, which is like somewhere over here? So that's a great question to ask. I don't know. I really cannot answer that because how little has changed in these 75 years. It is possible way more can change because, those people who were around during those times are getting out of power. And they actually saw a world where that happened explicitly, not implicitly, because it's happening implicitly right now, but explicitly. So, what will happen to the people who didn't get to see it explicitly? What can they do now to change stuff? So, I don't know. Hmm.
And so I was going to use the analogy of growth, but that's a bad analogy, like physical growth. But instead, what I'm going to say is I have hope because this generation is able to breathe more, is able to come up for water more than before. Before it's, you work, go to school if you can, and you start a family and you try and keep your family afloat, you know? Now it's my family's afloat, just branch out a little bit more. We can, you can achieve more. There's a foundation that allows you to do more. The big thing in our generation is first generation. First of my family to have a doctor, to be a doctor, to be whatever profession, engineer, and there's a lot more self awareness. I feel that's going on in our generation where we're like, damn, um, my grandparents did this to my parents, and my parents are doing this to me. I'm not doing this to my kids anymore. You know, and I don't know how much that has been in effect. Like, I really don't know because, like, obviously history repeats itself. So I don't know if this is just the same sentiment that everyone has around our age, where it's like, oh, we're going to be different, and then we end up doing damn near the same thing that our parents did. Um, but I feel hopeful, and I don't think in like a naive sense either, just because the baseline is morality in this, right? You're either moral about this or you're not. You're either ethical about racism or you're not. There's no there's no gray with racism. Unless if anyone wants to prove me wrong, y'all are more than welcome, right? But the more people are realizing, hey, racism is bad, the more that I feel like that is cutting down at the chance of it repeating through generations of, parents and kids and elders and whatnot. Um, you have kids these days are being like, because of the progressive ness so far, kids these days are being like, oh, my best friend from third grade all the way through high school is black. Um, my parents don't like him though. What's up with that? My parents say, oh, don't don't hang around his kind or whatnot. Don't go to that area of town. They're seeing this, and there's an obvious cognitive dissonance, right? There's like, I see nothing wrong. No one's giving me a reason to say that this is wrong, but my parents are telling me this other thing. What do I do, right? And because racism at the end of the day is baseless and has no actual justification, I think that kind of logic, ethics, or morality, whatever you want to call it, is a slow but steadily turning tide. And hopefully in the next 3 generations, you know, whoever is hosting the Honey Bunch of but hopefully in the next 3 generations, the people that are talking about this are like, damn, this shit started out slow, but we're in a lot better of a place now. I think that's possible. I don't think that's being naive.
I think
Um,
that's definitely, yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. It's for sure possible. Yeah. Wonder who's gonna be hosting Honey Bunches of Bros 75 years from now.
damn.
Crazy question.
Hey, we all about to be like 80 years old and like, this is episode 1394.
Hell no. Hell no. Yikes.
Imagine, bro. Nah.
But yeah, interesting. Interesting conversation.
Very.
Some might say necessary. Enlightening, I hope, for all y'all listening or watching.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna just leave it at that, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thought you were frozen.
I was just wondering if any other last minute, what thoughts were gonna hit me, but I think we're just gonna leave it at that.
Sounds good,
Yeah.
man.
It's a good place to leave it, I think.
Cool. Y'all got anything else to say?
Stay safe.
Wear a mask.
Double mask if you have to.
Which is insane because since the mask mandate got lifted, not a whole lot of people at my job still wear a mask, and I'm like, oh, slow down, bucko.
I mean, it's not a requirement anymore, but damn.
Damn, some of y'all got some
Y'all-
boof ass stink breath, bro.
Some of y'all were too quick to pull that trigger.
I'm not saying what I'm going to say on camera, bro. Let me just keep it to myself.
Bro, type it in the chat. This is finna be like, nah, I can't even say what.
Gotta make a joke about it.
We might just have to end the podcast off here, depending on what he says. So, if you'd enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, drop a follow, drop a subscribe. Bro, sound off in the comments. Definitely.
Facts.
Hey, definitely let us know. Definitely let us know what y'all think, what this means to you, what it means for you. Any other comments, and
Let us know your opinions.
of course, as
'cause
always.
why not?
Yeah, don't be mad if you get blocked, but let us know your comments.
You can stay salty about that.
Next week, should have a guest lined up next week, so tune back in. Um, follow our social medias and our everything in the description box below.
Oh, if you are interested in being a guest on the podcast, hit up that email.
There you go, perfect.
We'll have our guys look that request over.
Yeah, we'll send it over to the guest committee department. But yeah, other than that,
Definitely.
we appreciate y'all for tuning in one more time. It's the Honey Bunches of Bros. This is your favorite three signing off, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.